in match number 1 in 5th place with 1 PBA title, Dale Glenn. He'll meet 18-year veteran with 13 PBA titles, Wayne Zahn. All right, there's the handshake, and we're ready for the first stroke of our very first head-to-head match. Live coverage from Mel's Bowl in Alameda, California. Shooting first, the 32-year-old native of Houston, Texas, now bowling out of Northridge, California, Dale Glenn. And his opponent, as we mentioned earlier, is 38-year-old veteran Wayne Zahn of Tempe, Arizona. First shot, left lane. Beautifully into the pocket. And Dale Glenn, who appeared very nervous, calmed himself to put it in the pocket, and it's a strike for Glenn with Zahn up, Bo.
Chris, Dale Glenn made a tremendous charge last night to make the top 5, and he says he bowls a little better when he's nervous, so he feels he'll do well today.
13 PBA titles, Zahn. After 1 frame, first game, Alameda, California, as we recheck Zahn's profile move here.
Wayne Zahn, experienced veteran, won all the major titles in bowling. Holds the ball very low. He says that helps him, keeps him swing straight. A good extension and push away, but notice the real high backswing, the inverted thumb, and then he gets a tremendous turn. Watch how his hand goes all the way over and around the ball.
Zahn has a double. Smooth stroking Wayne Zahn against Dale Glenn, who's been known to show his feelings on the approaches after a shot.
Tough in the clutches, man. He needed 1 strike to make the top 5 last night and just threw just a beautiful ball right in the pocket.
Won his only title, and that was in Detroit in 1975. Way to the right, nearly in the channel. Coming back, and Bo, we're all even after 2 frames.
And the rather unusual shot of Dale Glenn had the crowd oohing and ahhing. It almost looked like it was going in the channel, Chris, and just had that real sharp break at the back end. It's tremendous for carry if you can hit the pocket from that angle, but the biggest problem is usually when you miss, it's an open frame.
Oh, it's just hard to believe that he had 16 in the channel during the week.
Well, when you play that wide swing shot, Chris, you don't want to pull it. It's usually, it'll go high or cross over. So, as Billy Whalen used to say, trust is a must. And when you trust it in the channel, that's still a little too far, though.
Going for a 3-bagger. So, with his chokey momentarily, Dale Glenn takes a 10-pin lead over Wayne Zahn, who can correct that very, very soon. Wheeling today. 3 frames, 6 strikes, all even.
Chris, to set the scene, Wayne Zahn bowled inside between the 2nd and 3rd arrow all week and opted to go outside just before we went on the air. Now you can see the outside trajectory. He has somewhere around the 6th or 7th board at the arrows, where Dale Glenn is right on the very last board. But there is just an ideal strike. What a great shot.
Now the bowler of the year in 1966, Wayne Zahn, going for his 4th in a row. And he does it. 7 consecutive strikes, so don't go away on a hot day in Alameda. Zahn has 4 in a row. Glenn has opened with 3 in a row, shooting in the 4th frame right now. So, 8 strikes in a row, so we replay the shot from behind.
Dale Glenn with a real nice arm swing, a little inside out, but see how he brings it right down underneath that left leg, and that's what gives him the lift and control. And watch the sharp break he gets on this ball. Here's a low angle. You see Dale Glenn out to almost the second or third board. Now he's about 45 feet down the lane, and look at that ball break, just ripping him right out. 6 taking out the 10. All even through 4.
Now Glenn on the left lane, 5th frame. Everything perfect here on the Pro Bowlers Tour live. 5 in a row with a 10-pin lead. And Zahn now with a 4-bagger shooting in the 5th frame. Well, at one time there was a perfect game here at Mel's Bowl. Nelson?
The last one bowled on ABC in 1974 by Jim Stefanich in the opening match right here on this pair of lanes.
A high hit, in fact, almost crossing over for Zahn on the right lane, leaving the 3-6-9.
Ball has a tendency to skid across lane or jump very sharp if you hook it.
Covering that sleeper, the 9-pin, and marking with a spare in the 5th frame. 107 through 4. Spare up in the 5th, and he'll be shooting on the left lane in a moment. Today is Wayne's 38th birthday. In the pocket, left lane, as Dale Glenn is up. Zahn has 127 through the 5th, a strike up.
Chris, before we went on the air, I talked to Dale Glenn, and he's been in a slump, and I asked him how he pulled himself out of it, and here's what he had to say.
Yes, I was in a slump, and I've been working on things that didn't work, and so I worked on my speed, and I asked Mr. Burton. I was over practicing, and Bo really helped me because he knows my game and known me for a long time, and I just speeded the ball up. I threw it as hard as I could this week, as hard as I could.
Now going for a 6-bagger. He has it. And listen to this crowd in our live coverage of our Pro Bowlers Tour telecast, 3rd stop in a tour of 16. And Professor Burton, whatever you told him is working.
Chris, basically all the players out here, the touring pros who have won, are really sharp. They just need somebody to pick up their game. Dale was being teased by his fellow players, Eddie Ressler and some of the other players, about throwing a turtle ball. And he was throwing it so slowly down the lane that he couldn't control it. And since he picked up his speed, his arm swing and rhythm have come back. And the evidence is in the first 6 frames here today.
And on our professional bowling tip of the week with Nelson Burton, a little later, he'll show you and tell you how to convert the 3-9-10. Well.
And Chris, one of the unusual leads, we left the 2-4-6-10, not very often seen in a game of bowling, but that's what we said. Guys got plenty of strikes here today. Now watch this ball just breaks so sharply at the back end, almost goes in the channel for his would have been his 17th ball in the channel this week. He throws it real wide. It's hanging out there, almost in. And look at this sharp break at the back end, just nicking the head pin, cutting right through. To make this, you have to go to the right side on the approach, go cross lane, try to drive the 2-pin into the 6th, and hope to take out the 10. Difficult shot.
Using a blue ball to try and convert that baby, but it's an open frame. High hit again, leaving the 3-pin to the left of center, cross lane now for the 3-pins on. And marking with his 2nd spare in 7 frames, the rest were strikes.
Now, Chris, there's a couple of ways to compensate for that, for the lane being tighter or hooking more. On the right-hand lane, they can either throw harder to keep it from hooking, routine spare for Zahn there, or on the left-hand lane, they can throw it slower, or a player like Zahn will turn the ball harder. He'll just put more spin on it to make it break sharper at the back end.
And with a lot of left lane. Zahn with a strike in the 8th frame, 167 through 7.
Dale Glenn, who started with 6 in a row, leads by 5 pins coming up in the 8th frame. Glenn, one of the great clutch bowlers on the tour. He's won only one time, but all the players know out here that Dale Glenn needs a strike. You can just about bank on it. And this match could go down to that last shot in the 10th.
Strike in the 8th for Dale Glenn, rolling out of Northridge, California.
Chris, when the scores are real high, like they are now, Zahn has a possible 257. Dale Glenn has a possible 262. But you must keep the pressure on the other player by getting the strike. This important shot for Dale to keep it on Zahn. If he let Zahn get up there with a free shot in the 9th, it could be the difference in the match.
Dale Glenn, between shots, came back, seated, back up quickly now and ready on the left lane. Our format, you win, you continue. Moving up, the loser of this match will finish the week with $4,000. With a 15-pin lead as a result of a double following an open, Glenn is in the lead.
Here's Dale Glenn. Notice the good push away and locks his elbow, very much like Tommy Hudson. See it? Stays locked all the way through. The good extension of the arm and tremendous shot there all the way through it. All that's left is a ball to hit the 1, 3, 5, and a 9. 6 taking out the 10. Zahn trailing by 15 and 9th frame. Can cut the lead to 5.
High again, leaving the 3, 6. And all right. Spare in the 9th, 187 through 8.
Zahn needs a strike in the 10th and 11th to force Dale Glenn to mark. Zahn a possible 237.
Zahn's week average nearly 211. Glenn's was just over 211. Oh boy. The bucket.
In trouble, and he knows it, Chris. Only maybe one of those balls sliding off in the channel could save Wayne Zahn right now. And first match, Dale Glenn 251 to 212.